Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Joey, the real estate guy. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, in this video, we're going to discuss how to set up your personal finances and to go over the relationship between money and time. Stay tuned. But before we get to it, can you do me a favor? Like and subscribe this video. I really appreciate it. In my channel, we talk about everything related to money, real estate, and investing. So love your support. Like the video and subscribe. All right, guys, before we go up how to set up personal finances, let's go through this graph right here. Again, this is the relationship between money and time. Now, we're going to go through how most Americans operate in their households. I've been in this position, and I know many people have before, but let's see it here. So here, this is money, the green, and then these are your expenses. Now, most people, when they get out of school or get into the working force, their money and expenses are razor thin. You're just starting out, you're making kind of that entry level salary or wage, and so it's very tight. Now, what typically happens as you grow in your income and as time goes on is that your expenses are, fairly low, but you've been kind of holding off. You get that promotion or that bonus, and then you finally get a BMW, right? So your income goes up a little bit, but your expense goes up a little bit, okay? And then it happens again, maybe another year or two later, you get another bonus, your salary goes up significantly, and you go on vacation, right? And this continues, right? You get another car, a second car, right? Let's say you get a Suburban, nice big car, one that I want, and then you start having kids, right? So as your income goes up, as you can see, your expenses just follow. This is what I like to call the rat race, and actually Robert Kiyosaki also calls it the rat race, but this is very like American society, right? Income goes up, expenses just literally follow, and it's just literally razor thin. And I believe Dave Ramsey had said before that the average American, I think it's like 86% of Americans can't handle a $500 unexpected expense. If you're asking yourself why, that's because of here. Right here. Now, I've been in this position before. There's nothing, we're not making fun of anybody in this position, but sometimes it's helpful to see the problem before we can come up with a solution. So what I like to do is go over some solutions and how to kind of reverse this and make sure that this doesn't happen to you or it stops happening to you as you get older and as your income and expenses continue to grow, and they just parallel each other. So what I like to propose is instead of your getting a BMW, right, you just keep your car. You keep your dang car, right? And instead of going on vacation when you're super young, maybe you instead of going across the country, you go camping. You do stuff that you can drive to. We call this delayed gratification, right? So if you can have some delayed gratification as your income goes up, your expenses just go up a little bit. And then we call this is a wedge. You want this wedge to get as big as possible. And as your income goes up, I know it's a different color, but as your income continues to go up, as you see, this wedge continues to get larger. Now, also what I'd like to propose is that I think that there can be an avenue to where your expenses can be capped at a certain amount, and you can be comfortable living this lifestyle, but your income continues to go up and this wedge stays there. And that means this gap here that's continued getting larger, that you have more room and you finally get out of the gosh dang rat race that most Americans are in. Now, what fires me up is the following. So this is great. This is, I think, step one is having some delayed gratification, having this wedge where your income goes up, but your expenses are toggled down. Now, what if you could start paying for your expenses, right? By having, let's say you buy or invest into other businesses, or you buy some stocks, or you invest more into retirement, or you buy real estate as investment properties. So you buy some assets. And you keep buying assets to where the cash flow keeps coming in, and there's a breaking point right here to where you're living for free. Your lifestyle, that's let's just call it, it's here, it's fixed, is being paid by your cash flow, the income, the dividends, the return on all of the assets and stuff that you're investing in. And so this fires me up because there's a way to get out of the gosh dang rat race. And all it takes is to be open to learning, right? And to have some delayed gratification to where you don't have to get the newest stuff. You don't have to go on 2-3 vacations a year, go out to eat every single night and go to a nice 4-star restaurant. 5-star, go to a nice 5-star restaurant. And so if there's a way that you can have delayed gratification, there's a way that you can instead use this money that you would have spent on just random stuff and put that money to work for you and invest into assets. So that's the relationship of money and time. This is something I'm extremely passionate about. And so we're going to continue talking through this. And now the next step is let's start talking about how to set up your personal finances. So stay tuned. All right, guys, welcome back. Now we're going to talk about how to set up your personal finances. I'm going to go over what my wife and I do. I'm not necessarily recommending that you should do this too. I just wanted to share what we do and what we have found that works best for us in our situation. Okay, so just take it how it is. I'm not necessarily saying to do this. Just hear me out in what we do, okay? So what we do is that in our brick and mortar bank accounts, so we have actually, it's with Wells Fargo, what we tend to find that works really well for us is that we have one operating account. And what that means is that that's where paychecks go in, and that's where we pay our bills. So we get both, my wife and I, our paychecks go in there every month, and we also pay our bills outside of that account. We typically keep roughly 3 months of a cushion in this operating account, so we don't have a lot of transferring back and forth every single month. So this account is fairly healthy. There's not a lot of times that we have to transfer other savings into there. We just keep it fairly healthy to where if we have a slim month or whatnot, we don't really have to make any sort of drastic changes. Okay, so income goes in there. We keep it in, again, a brick and mortar Wells Fargo. I'm considering moving to more of an online platform, but right now I just haven't done it yet, and we have just kept it with Wells Fargo. Okay, and then I have a small little like tax account since I am self-employed that I just keep cash there. I might transfer this somewhere else, and we'll go into that a little bit more detail. But we keep some funds here for taxes at the end of the year for myself. Now, the reason why I do this is because this kind of makes me feel like I barely have any money. And the reason why that is because, so I do agree with Dave Ramsey, if you've heard of him, having a savings and emergency fund. My wife and I do the same thing, and I do this for both personal and for business. And so what I have found is that there are money market accounts that are online, and right now the interest is very low, but I used to get 2% interest per month on the money that I have in those accounts, but now it's 0.4% as of November 2020. But it's still much higher interest than I'm getting from a brick and mortar checking account. Okay, so I'm getting right now 0.4% interest on the money that's in here if it's above $10,000, I believe, is how they give you that interest. So I keep in one. I have multiple different like checking accounts in these money market accounts. The company that I specifically use right now is Capital One. It's who I started with. It works well. I'm sure that there are other better ones, but right now I'm with Capital One. If you know of any other good ones, let me know in the comments below. But so I have in one a money market account, I have our personal savings, and I keep 6 months there. That's a good amount of change there. The reason why I do that is because I'm self-employed, and if I had more of a steady W-2 job, I might make it closer to 3 months. But since I'm self-employed, I do 6 months just so I don't have any emergencies, or if I do have emergencies, I don't freak out as much. So that's what my wife and I have just chosen to do. So 6 months of personal, and then I also have 6 months of business expenses in a second one. So these are all different accounts. I like having, you could keep all of this in one account, but I like having them separate so I know where it's going and what it's for. Just helps me out more, and it keeps me a little bit more organized. And then I have ones for investing. So I'm huge. I'm huge on real estate investing. So what I have done is create one for different properties that I intend on purchasing in the near future. And so I just like keeping it separate to where I know I need a certain amount for the first property and the second property, and I'm just dispersing how I see fit. So I have two separate ones, and these are for properties. Once these funds reach up to the down payment that I need in order to purchase those, then I know that we're good. So that's there. And then other investing for like stocks or other businesses, we have another one just for other stuff, random stuff that comes up that I want to invest in. Right now, mainly it's stocks and index funds and stuff like that. Now, it might sound complicated, it might not, but the reason why I like to do this, like I said before, is because I log on to my personal stuff very often, and it makes me feel like I don't have any money because I have just a little bit of cash here. 90% of our cash is over here, right? And it's a little bit not harder to get to, but a little bit harder to get to, and it typically takes a good amount of time. I think it's like 3 or 5 days to transfer this money back to Wells Fargo. So it's not easily accessible, and I can't do anything stupid with, and me mentally, it helps me continue earning more and stocking more cash away, knowing that when I log into my Wells Fargo, a large chunk of sum isn't showing. It's just kind of showing razor thin there, and it kind of motivates me. So a part of this is mentally for me, but it's just worked really well for myself. And the great thing is when other accounts reach like other savings goals that we have or other investment goals that we have, once these accounts reach that number, we can freely invest in to let that money go and put it to work. Before in the last part is that I want to have assets be paying me cash flow and pay me cash flow or dividends every single year to where it can help offset some of my personal expenses. And so this is what I have found that works well for my wife and I. Set aside accounts for one day, and it could take you it's okay if it takes you multiple years in order to buy, whether it be a property or to invest. It's okay. This is a marathon. It's not necessarily a sprint. It doesn't matter how long it takes you, as long as you are getting there. Now, if you do, this is my recommendation, if you do have any sort of credit card debt, I would highly recommend reach out to other sources like Dave Ramsey. He has that snowball, taking care of debt, if you will. I would highly recommend to follow somebody that's really good at like killing debt and to handling it before you start doing some of this stuff. What I know with credit card debt is that it's at 18 to 25, 26%, and that's very hard to take care of when you constantly have a balance there that you're not paying off. So I would start there, get rid of that debt, and then start going here, and then continue investing into assets that produce income and dividends for you. It doesn't have to necessarily be a crap load every single month. Like one of the properties that we own, the cash flow is like $200 a month. Now, that doesn't necessarily pay for a lot, but what I do know, like I said before, is a marathon. Over time in 10 years, it might be $1,000 a month. It might be $1,500 a month, and that tenant is also paying off my debt for me, the mortgage debt for me. So again, I'm the real estate guy. You're going to get real estate, suggestions and to be pushing you there. So just take it how it is, or take it for what it is, if you will. But this is how I set up my personal finances. And then also one little helpful tip, and I'm going to create a separate video on this, but I'll just share it here. One thing to kind of get you into investing, and maybe the easiest thing for you to do is maybe stocks, because you don't need, you know, a large sum for a down payment for a property. But there's sources out there such as like Robinhood and Webull, and there's many others to where you can do fractional share buying. And so I actually, in the middle of COVID during, I think it was February, so the beginning of COVID, I actually got on that Robinhood. And what I would do is when I wanted to buy something stupid, instead of buying it, if I didn't absolutely need it, I actually at the same time didn't buy it and then put that money to Robinhood. And sometimes, like at the beginning, it was like $10 that day, you know, or $10 that month. Okay, that's fine, but you know what? At least it's something that you're putting yourself first and you're getting into the game of investing, so you don't have to have thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to get in the game of investing. But that's one thing I've done. I have the Robinhood app, and I also have Charles Schwab. And so with money that I have saved by not buying something, I just in return just go put it into the market and let it work for me. And so that's done, you know, really well for myself. I think just in Robinhood, within like 3 or 4 months, I've put in, I think it was like $2,500 or $3,000, and it's really turned out well for me by doing that. And I didn't even really feel like I'm losing money because it was just here and there. It was fractional shares I was buying, and it made it a little bit easier for me to do that. I would say though, before you start buying stocks, research and follow a couple other people on YouTube that know what they're talking about stocks. Don't just listen to one person, listen to a couple different people to learn before you start investing in stocks. I think the biggest misconception with stocks is that a stock is not a lottery ticket. And I know a lot of people think that it is, or maybe not accept that, but they kind of feel that way. Buying stocks is an investment. You can either win and lose. So I would say take investing, even with Robinhood or Charles Schwab, seriously. Do some research, and you can put just $5, $10 a month, even if it was just that. If you're super young, or just where your financial situation is that you're on a razor thin margin, that's fine. At least you're doing something. And again, do research on this. If you have any questions on this, feel free to comment below. I'm more than happy to give you any more information or just suggestions that I can. Other than that, this is how I set it up. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, I'd really appreciate if you like and subscribe to my channel. It really helped me out in growing this platform and this channel. Thanks very much. Have a good rest of the day.